and it's not. It's what you want. You still want your quarterback to take shots, but I mean that's part of the job. And somehow it's become almost like a derogatory term when it's part of the job. Is managing the game and the situations.
Well, think about it this way: they'll call a guy a game manager, but in the same breath, they'll call a guy a gunslinger. Now, neither term is, well, basically both terms are pejorative. Neither term is a great term. Neither designation is a good designation to have if you're a quarterback, game manager. Well, the implicit or the implication is that you can't do the physical things either by limitation or by intelligence or by any of that allows you to be daring and go down the field. But if you're a gunslinger, you have a careless mentality. You really don't care. So either you're a gunslinger or you're a game manager. But why can't you just be a quarterback who takes intelligent chances? You know what I mean? Chances that don't end up in the defense getting the ball. Chances that don't end up in disaster for your team. And that's Brian Hoyer. If he's a game manager, then so was Russell Wilson. But then again, I thought Russell Wilson was extremely talented coming out in 2012. I just thought he was short. But he's played himself away. When I look at Russell Wilson now, I don't think short. You know why? Because he's won. He's won.
Yep.
He's won with a team that we didn't think could win it all. But he's won. He's shown something. He's shown an ability to get in and learn the offense, learn the playbook, be serious, connect with the fan base in a very meaningful way. It's not about him in any way. It's not about money signals. It's not about any of that Johnny football crap. It's not about any of that. It's about us. It's about our team. It's about winning. That's what it's about with Russell Wilson. And then when you see those things on a young man like that, when you see those character traits, you don't think he's short. You think he's just a winning quarterback. He's just a winning football player. You don't think game manager. You think he's a winning football player. That's what these guys in Cleveland need to do. Not Rex Grossman, because we know what he is. Maybe Connor Shaw, who, by the way, has been impressive to me for the last 5 years. He was undefeated at home. He only lost 2 games. He didn't throw, I think he threw 1 interception last year with 24 touchdowns. Wow, that's good. And he played for a quarterback coach who's very hard on quarterbacks. But he said that Connor Shaw was the best quarterback he's ever coached. Really? And he's had a Heisman Trophy winner? Really? So there's something there. I don't know whether the Browns will crack it and get to it. My suspicion is he'll be on the practice squad, and after the rounds of cuts coming up, there may be someone that comes loose, like an Aaron Murray, like a Tyler Bray, somebody who has all of the skills that are necessary, like a Joe Webb. You just never know, and I think that guy needs to be in tow also to give the Browns several options. And the final thing I'll say about the Browns is I don't like the Shanahan Jr.'s offense. It's quirky. It's unrealistic. If it has any portions of the quarterback running the ball, that's a recipe for disaster. I don't like the football from a strategic standpoint for either side of the ball. That's just me. I'm not saying it won't work, but I don't recall too many offenses in the 21st century that feature a running quarterback for long. Cam Newton doesn't do it, and he's 6'6", 250. Really? 6'6", 250, and the defenders are too, shall we say, violent, too ill-meaning for him to be running the ball? Really? I think a little guy like Hoyer or Manziel has no chance, and I think Manziel saw that against Detroit and Washington, where people like Ryan Kerrigan he used to run away from. He can't run away from Ryan Kerrigan. And the other thing is, if there's any sideways movement in the NFL on the part of the ball carrier, he's going to get eaten up, really quickly. So you can't run sideways, and when you get to a hole, you got to get up in there, put your head in there. When you're 5'11", 190 pounds, you're going to get your neck broken, all right, trying to run on these defenders. And he's going to find that out quick. That's why no matter what you see in college, Braxton Miller, any of these great running quarterbacks, they're going to have to transition to being a passer because they can't make their living in the NFL running the ball. They can't. It's too violent, too athletic. Think about this. Any quarterback, Colin Kaepernick included, is going to play 11 guys who are all better athletes than him. Think about that. The ends, the tackles, the linebackers. Then if you happen to get bad at him, you have to have a scheme that allows you to be so far away from each safety or the cornerback. So imagine you're Johnny Manziel, you break into the open, you get away from the linebackers, you get away from them killers, and now you're looking at Earl Thomas III and Cam Chancellor with Richard Sherman coming over. Really? No, I think I'd rather stay in the pocket and take my chances there. Do it like Fran Tarkenton. Up, back, side to side. Slide, slide, slide. Don't run. Look for a receiver downfield and bust him. Put it on him, and that'll hurt the defense more than you running. That's what it's going to take. And that will lead to the Cleveland Browns being a winner. And we'll go to the Super Bowl.
That was one thing today. I know that he got hurt scrambling, but that was one thing that I thought Hoyer was good at last year was being able to move around without moving too far around. You know what I mean? Being able to keep that pocket moving. Hey, I got one name that I want to drop on you because a couple of us have been talking about it. I wonder, have the Browns perhaps found a diamond in the rough here from one of Joe Banner's draft picks? But the flashes we've seen from Armani Bryant here up front, what do you think? Is he the real deal, or is he going to show up here? Because I like the work he's put in. I know he had the rap against him with some of the problems early, but you know he's showing an ability to get low, get between guys, and get through.
Well, Armani Bryant has an electric ability to rush the passer. And there are several abilities in the National Football League at different positions which are at a premium. None more than the ability to rush the passer. So Armani Bryant, you have identified correctly as one of those players who bears watching. And I think because he doesn't care who's in front of him. He doesn't care if it's an all-pro tackle or if it's a scrub. He doesn't care. All he knows is the guy with the ball, I want him, sick him. That's what he knows. And guys like that, I've played with people like that. And let me tell you something, man. Playing with people like that is refreshing because they don't care about nothing but tackling the ball carrier. It's like when you were little and you played down the man with the ball and there was a guy in your neighborhood that was just painful. That's Armani Bryant, because he has that innate ability to rush the passer. Same with Michael Sam. They kept talking about Michael Sam is slow. Michael Sam is this. I know one thing. Michael Sam knows his way to the quarterback regardless of his sexual orientation. He knows how to rush the passer. The same thing with Armani Bryant. The troubles he was in at East Central Oklahoma have nothing to do with how he gets after the passer. So I think you've identified him correctly. Now, whether he's the real thing or not, his work ethic will tell, opportunities will tell, but if he can rush the passer, he should get opportunities on this team because they're not pass rushing demons, only if there's great coverage in the back end. But guys who can I don't care what happened in the back end, I'm going to get the quarterback. You coming? That kind of guy, you need him. And I think Armani Bryant can be one of those guys. I hope he gets the opportunity. I hope they're creative with how they deploy him. I think two of the more intriguing players that I've ever seen as pass rushers are Carl Mecklenburg and A.J. Dewey. A.J. Dewey with the Dolphins and Mecklenburg with the Broncos. Think about it. The Broncos had a whole team of 6'6", 6'7", 270 260, 265, 270 guys. They had him. They had Andre Townsend. They had Rulon Jones. They had so many people who you didn't know where they were going to line up. You didn't know whether they were in the air or whether their hand was in the dirt, whether they were reduced inside or whether they were outside on the shoulder, whether they were on the inside shoulder on the outside. You just don't know. And the same thing with Armani Bryant. He has that ability to be one of those guys, along with Paul Kruger and a couple of other guys on this roster who I really like if they're deployed the right way. But the bottom line is, yes, Armani Bryant can be special if he's placed in the right scheme and given the opportunity.
Well, this week, hopefully with them getting into, here's the guys, we're going to really go a whole half here, it looks like, and try to get things together. I think, to me, just the most important thing is seeing if everybody can kind of settle in, get this offense on the same page here, not just Hoyer, but all of them, and really start to at least see everybody kind of starting to settle into that regular season role offensively. I think that, to me, is the most important thing, to see if making a decision settles things down. Do you think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think once the cuts are announced, and once they happen, once they figure out what they're doing with Gordon, then they'll be able to lock in how they want to play and how they'll win football games. I have a feeling that it's back to the future for the Browns. Identify 2-3 good running backs, a receiver that you can rely on. I'm not saying it's Miles Austin, because I don't think his body is able to withstand the rigors of an NFL season. But it may be Nick Burleson. It may be a young guy, but they'll identify a way to play. It'll be primarily run first. The quarterback won't take a lot of chances, and they have a chance to win the game. They have to keep their defense fresh. They have to keep them off the field, and they got to get off the field on third down. And the early quarter of the season is going to be critical for the Cleveland Browns, because when you're facing Roethlisberger, Breeze, and Flacco, you don't have a lot of opportunities to make mistakes. So they're going to be taxed right off the beginning. And for this team to be successful, all three elements have to be firing. Benjamin has to be the man in the return game, or whoever. The defense has to play stout as usual. But they're going to have to get a little something we're not expecting from the offense. And I think the best way to do that early is to keep the ball from Big Ben. I think the impending situation with the drug arrests of Le'Veon Bell and LeGarrette Blount will, the two LBs, so to speak, will go a long way in helping that first game in Pittsburgh. But don't sleep, because the Steelers, and I'll be on them tonight, and all you guys be on them too. This is one way I learn as much as I can. But I think they'll play Philly tonight, and we'll get a good look-see at what else they have. But they've got some good players. I think Baltimore will do some things and will tax them, not as much offensively. In fact, I would be inclined to pick the Browns over the Ravens in the North. And, of course, New Orleans is as close to unstoppable as you can be. The only issue with New Orleans, is that they're on natural grass, and they're not as good outside on natural grass, especially on natural grass. But then Brandon Cooks has to be accounted for. Jimmy Graham has to be accounted for. Those mashing guards have to be accounting for in the run game. And, of course, the orchestrator of it all, Drew Brees and Sean Payton, they're one brain, they're mastermind, they're master blaster. They have to be accounted for. So the early part of the season is going to be so crucial and critical for us being in Cleveland, saying, well, we got a chance to see something special, or who's in the draft again.
Absolutely, and so many people were focused on quarterbacks. I'm with you defensively. A couple of really big tests right away, like you said there, for that defense to see where they really stand. And that's in the early part. We haven't gotten to late in the season with injuries and fatigue and all of that stuff, so it'll be a good early test. I'm with it, man. I'm looking forward to next Thursday talking to you after we get at least a bit of a dress rehearsal look, as you said, not only at Pittsburgh but at the Browns, and start looking forward to that first week of the season, because